Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the nominee. And I've looked at him very, very keenly, Mr. Speaker, very seriously. Mr. Speaker, the question that's worrying me is that the biggest problem in this country, in terms of when we approve people here in terms of governance, is the Ministry of Agriculture. There have been problems from the last 5-7 years I was in Parliament, from the previous ministers to the one that we approved here who are 30 cases, plus now the PhD holder was arrived here. Mr. Speaker, I want this nominee just to prove to this committee how he is going to deal with these cartels and this corruption in agriculture. Because if we were to describe corruption in government in form of a home, the bedroom of corruption in government is Ministry of Agriculture. The rest are sitting rooms, servant quarters, and other small places. And you know, Mr. Speaker, having a PhD and dealing with corruption, having a PhD and dealing with corruption are two different things. So now that's one thing I want him to illustrate, even physically, if he can, how he's going to deal, how he's going to deal with corrupt people in that place. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, how is he going also, because fertilizer is one of the biggest problems when it comes to corruption also. How are you going to work with the industries locally here to develop a fertilizer manufacturing program within the country here so that this issue of importation of fertilizer can end? So if you can prove those two things, for me, I'll be satisfied, because I know after 1 year, you will be walking jobless in the street, I can assure you. I can tell you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Junet, for your questions. I know dealing with cartels is a big issue, and there are many formats and very many forms. But if I am approved by this House and this committee, I'm saying I'm giving a notice on cartels. Notice that they will be out of business. In the fact that my background is that, and one of the principles which I hold very dear is integrity, not to be compromised. And the other principle I hold very dear is having the country's and the farmers' interest first. So I will deal with them. We will do whatever it takes.
Utatembea na Nyundo.
Yeah. I will do whatever it takes, Mr. Speaker, to deal with them, putting systems in place, as I said, governance structures, making sure that I involve all the agencies of the government. I'm sure the government of Kenya is capable of and have agencies which can deal with these cartels, and I will be in the forefront for that.
Nelson?
On the development of the fertilizer, it's a good one, because we need to develop the local industry. What is happening today is that most of the manufacturers we have are for blending. They are not for manufacturing of fertilizer. And it will be good to explore further whether they can, apart from blending, which is important, because we need to blend for coffee, we need to blend for tea, we need to blend for various crops, we need also to go a step further and do the manufacturing of the fertilizer. So if I'm approved, this is one of the agenda I would like to pursue.
Nelson Koich.
Thank you, Speaker. Dr. there is a crisis in the tea sector. Tea prices at the Mombasa auction were on a downward trend in 2022, forcing the government to establish a minimum reserve price of 2.6 USD for teas from the east of the Rift and USD 2.4 for teas from the west of the Rift. This initiative was aimed at stabilizing the market and addressing the declining tea prices at the Mombasa auction. However, the current pricing structure has resulted in several millions of teas being unsold, thus resulting in stagnating in warehouses and facilities. What strategies will you employ to alleviate this situation? Additionally, is the government interference in the manner necessary in a free market, and how can it be balanced to ensure that market stability without causing an adverse effect?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Nelson Koech. Yes, I'm seized by this issue about the minimum price, which has been set of $2.65 US and 2.4, and that unattended what I would call effects, which is the piling up of the tea in the warehouses in Mombasa. This is a serious issue because it affects the incomes of our farmers, of tea farmers, and the intention was good, but I think going forward, we have to review that policy. It has to be reviewed with all the facts on the table. I would take the charge when you've approved that if necessary, we don't have to create this price setting. We have to say, let it go so that it is a free market, but it needs to be carefully, cautiously done so that it doesn't impact negatively on the incomes of our farmers. So I will review that policy of the pricing, whether we need a market-driven or a setting price in the tea sector. Thank you.
Posing.
Thank you, Speaker. And at least the nominee, in his 62 years, has at least found some time to find motivation or work in public service. Not like others who are going for retirement and they are forced to join public service. So my question to the nominee is this. Is coming in at a time when we can view or see agriculture as dead, which is actually supposed to be the backbone of this country. But the sector is dead. And what I mean, Honorable Speaker, is if you look at outlet, which is market of agriculture, is dead. All manufacturing or value addition to motivate farmers to do their farming is dead. If you go to maize, the outlet or the market is dead. If you go to pyrethrum, we used to do very well in my constituency, and for the nominee, West Pokot also grows pyrethrum at one point. But the exit or market is dead. You go to milk, is dead. Tea is dead. And you have been in public service. And suppose this committee and parliament approves you, I would like to know what you are going to do to improve this sector, particularly the value addition. Because if there's no value addition, then there's no motivation for farmers to do farming. What are you doing farming for? You don't get any money. And therefore, maybe you need to tell this committee, then how will you treat this market or outlet so that it can motivate now farmers